Hold on, you guys. I have my live pulled up twice. Sorry, you guys. I had my chat pulled up. Hey H, hey Crystal. I'm gonna try to do baby Elena some justice over here, sweetie. You guys please go check out Cold Case Crystal. I've got the link in the chat. She's been covering this case and there's an update. Hey Poppy. Christine. That's the police? What is the police? Are you over on Name That Tune? Christine? Are you in the wrong live, Christine? I'm just asking, darling. Hey, Steven, True Wrecking Crime. Hey, Little Dev. Hey, who did I miss? H. Davis. Jenny. Jenny from the block. I want to tell you that I love that you were in, and I did drop the link to the Georgia Gazette. And I was so glad you were over there because I don't really go into chats that I'm not real familiar with the channel. And I was so glad that you and Granny Bassmaster and Cutie Pie was in there. And you guys were so welcoming. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. All right, Christine, I don't know. Yeah, I think you might be in the Name That Tune chat. Somebody can show the way to the refrigerator. Well, go get some juice. What do you mean? I just started. I just started, Flies. How are you late and how are you lost? Do we need to come and find you? Blink twice if you need help, Flies. Blink twice. We will come and find you. Yes, ma'am, Crystal. I am going to show your content on that, darling. And I want to thank you personally for loving this little girl and covering her little case as much as you have. You have given it 100%. And I understand completely that it's very hard to talk about missing children and things that have happened to children. And you don't feel like anyone is paying any attention to these children. And I get it because I feel the same way sometimes. I absolutely do. It's just heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Okay, let me get first of all, I want to pull up a picture of uh no, I don't want to do that. Okay. Let me hold on. I just had a really cute picture. This is who we're going to be talking about today, you guys. And I've talked about her before, and Crystal from Cold Case Crystal has covered her. You're not able to chat, Flies? Okay, darling. Thanks for letting us know. So, Crystal has covered her case since the beginning. And I'm telling you, this case is just completely hard to get a grasp on. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of Alana's mother. Okay, hold on. Let me, Crystal, I want to show yours first. Let me pull yours up, darling. Give me just a second here. Okay. Thank you for dropping her channel link, Flies. Okay, so we're going to hop over to Cold Case Crystal, and she has an update. Now, I will fill you in on the case, but I want to show Crystal's first. And baby Elena, I hope I'm saying her name right, Elena, her mother was charged, and I'll tell you the charges and stuff, but we're going to hop over here, and I'm glad you're in here, Crystal. That way I don't have to speed it up and we can listen to it. Okay, here we go. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I want to start it. Okay, here we go, you guys. Hold on. I got to fix my audio share because it's kind of wacky today. Let me stop that for a second and pull it back up. Okay, here we go. This is, like I said, Cold Case Crystal. Please go check it out. Give a little support here. We need justice for this baby, Crystal. I want to kind of get past that. Let's get over to here. Okay. This is Elena's mother, and this is baby Elena. And there's our beautiful Cold Case Crystal. Love you, Crystal.
If you can hear me, just put a 1 in chat. That way I know
We can
that
hear
my
you,
audio's
darling.
okay.
Everybody can hear, right?
Okay. Today I have a update on the case of Elena Hembry. As most of you know, this case has really been near and dear to my heart. It's in my back door. And she was, Erica was initially facing the death penalty. But in an article that was put out by WRIL FM, which is the big one with Brian O'Brien out of Middlesboro, Kentucky, I want to give him full credit. This is what it says. On Tuesday, February the 11th, 2025, Erica Lawson had another pretrial conference in reference to the 2023 death of her child. I'm sorry, it's emotional for me. Affectionately known as baby Elena. A significant change took place during the hearing that effectively removed the death penalty from her initial indictment. She was originally charged by former Commonwealth Attorney Lisa Fugate with manslaughter, criminal abuse to a child under 12 years old, failure to report child abuse, and wanton endangerment.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it right there. This is the case that Crystal came over and we had a discussion about it. When this little girl was taken to the hospital, it's contradictory because they said that little Elena had been sexually violated, abused. It had also came out that there was like a number of different DNAs that were found. And I'm kind of flabbergasted on now they have come out and said that and I will read the autopsy results and things like that, that it was blunt force trauma. So this case has really confused me in so many different ways.
The grand jury then returned a true bill on Lawson with 4 counts. 1. Murder by intentionally causing the child's death for failing to provide aid. 2. Failure to report child dependency, neglect, or abuse of the child. 3. Criminal abuse of the child. And 4. Wanton endangerment for endangering in drug or engaging in drug use in the presence of the child. In an order signed by Circuit Judge Keith Nagel in Bell County or Bell Circuit Court, the findings of facts determine that only those murders which are accompanied by an aggravating factor or aggravator are eligible for the death penalty. A bill of particulars did not determine those aggravators, and the conclusion of the law states that the legislative history made clear that the killing must have been the conscious objective of the person engaged in the conduct. Also in the order, newly elected Bell County Commonwealth Attorney Mike Taylor conceded that the imposition of the death penalty is not warranted and cannot be proven. Count 1 of the August 22nd, 2023 indictment now reads, murder by wantonly causing the death of, and it's got the initials, but I'm going to say your name, Elena Hembry, a child under the age of 12, by failing to provide aid to Elena Hembry, her 17-month-old daughter who was unable to breathe. Now, for those of you that are listening, think about that. Do you have kids? Do you have kids in your home? What kind of mind state would you have to be in to not provide aid or call 911 when your baby is laying there not breathing?
And from my understanding, and it's okay, Crystal, I get it. I get it, girl. Hey, Glenview Tots. You know I get it, Crystal. I mean, when I covered the Quentin Simon trial and she was found guilty, I ugly cried. I did. I really did. I have ugly cried over some of the things that were said in Summer's case. So I get it, darling.
I'll continue. As a reminder, and this is what happened, you all. As a reminder, on Friday night, July the 28th, 2023, the toddler was taken to Middlesboro ARH Hospital with severe injuries. Due to the extreme and life-threatening nature of the injuries,
Thank you,
the
Poppy.
child was flown to the Children's Hospital in Knoxville, Tennessee. The medical staff attempted to stabilize the girl, placing her on a respirator, but unfortunately, she passed away Sunday evening, July the 30th, at Children's Hospital. Middlesboro police interviewed and shortly afterwards arrested Lawson, which is her mother, if you want to call her that, in connection with the violent and tragic crime. She has been held on $1 million cash bond ever since. While there have been no other arrests in this case, both Middlesboro and the FBI, just give me just a second, it jumped on me. While there have been no other arrests in this case, both Middlesboro and the FBI continue separate investigations. Lawson's next pretrial conference will be August the 4th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. So that is the update. There is other live streams that you can go on this channel that will tell you the shape that this child was in. I don't have to keep pushing it. But this baby deserves to have justice. Never have I pretended to play God. So as far as the death penalty goes, I'm really not even sure where I stand on that. But it does worry me considering the last couple court hearings that she's had seems to always have been this and it hasn't turned in that, and let's face it, it's been forever getting these bill of particulars. All I can hope for is that Elena Hembry gets justice. Now, one thing that I would like to say
You're going to make me cry, Crystal.
is that
Okay. I'm going to continue to play it, Crystal, but I want people to realize that when they did do little Elena's autopsy, they determined that she suffered from blunt force trauma. And to the back of her head, trigger warning, some 48 to 72 hours before she was taken to the emergency room. 48 to 72 hours. Now, they said that the injury was not visible externally and was only discovered by the medical examiner. We're going to get in on the timeline, and I will let you guys know exactly what transpired. So I personally don't understand how the baby could be taken to the hospital and they ruled that she had been touched inappropriately, if that's what you want to call it. So this case has just blown my mind. Blown my mind.
February the 20th is declared Elena Rosalie Hembry Day. A group of us got together and made this possible. And the mayor, Boone Boland, sent in a certificate to make sure that that happened. Give me just a moment. Let me see here.
It's very heartbreaking. The mayor came out.
But I was trying to show, but my camera isn't going to let me show it. But this plaque, it proudly will always stand in my home to remind me that this child needs justice. Now, I know I haven't said a whole lot about Elena lately. There is a reason for that, too. It's because I like to go on facts. And when this case first started out, I found out there was a whole lot of speculation, but a whole lot that I saw that you just could not deny.
It was crazy, wasn't it, Crystal?
Pictures say 1,000 words. But I ask you, my subs, the people that watch Cold Case Crystal, that whether you believe in prayer or sending good vibes, whatever you believe in, let's come together and pray that this child gets justice. I don't want Elena's case to be forgotten. When facts come to me and I see them, I will report on them, but I will not, and I refuse to do what so many have done in so many cases, go live every single day.
Amen, Crystal. Amen on that.
Exploit this kid. I won't do that. I want Elena to get justice. I want the people that did this to this kid to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The 20th of this month would be another birthday for Elena. Let's not forget her. The plaque reads on it, "May this day serve as a reminder of her enduring legacy, her kindness, and her profound impact on our city. Let us honor her memory by striving to make our community a better place for all." And that was issued last February the 20th of 2024. What happened to Elena does not defy who Elena was. But what happened to Elena should never happen to another child. Let's remember that it takes zero effort to be a good human being. And I would also like to thank each and every one of you that have supported this channel. It means a lot to me.
And it is sad because when you are talking about a missing child or an exploited child and you don't get the views on it and you don't feel like people want to give these children who've been red-rummed attention, it's heartbreaking to the creator. It really is. We see people on these YouTube streets who are, specifically doing drama, and you see hundreds, if not thousands of people, you know, in those creators' chats and showing them, showing them all this attention, and it's not, let me say this because this is how I feel, and I know this is how Crystal feels. We are not jealous of that at all. To each their own. But when you're talking about a child, it's heartbreaking to creators that want to get that out there. They want people to know that children need us every day. They need us every day. And even though Elena is not with us anymore, we have to talk about the reasons why she is not with us anymore. And this case has always broke my heart, always broke my heart. Mom allegedly was down the road, wasn't even at home with her baby, wasn't even there. She had left Elena in a house where anyone could do anything to her. So, yes, her mother was being looked at for the DP, okay? For the DP. They have taken that off the table. Now, this is what I don't understand. The defense objected and requested a formal notice of the state's reasoning for proving intentionality. Okay? Yeah, I think I said that wrong. Intentionality. And let's, okay. Now, like I said, the autopsy showed that Elena suffered from blunt force trauma. When she was taken to the first hospital, they said that they believed that Elena had been violated, is what they said. Let me pull this up real quick. I don't know if it's going to. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I want to see if I can pull this podcast up, see if it can tell us a little bit more. Crystal's coming home, so we'll let Crystal get up here. There's a commercial. I'm just waiting. People do love drama. And you know what? It's okay because a lot of people do love drama, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the cupcake case from Birmingham and Summer's case, oh, that's horrible. Okay, let me see if I can get this pulled up. Okay, okay. I want to I'm trying to find an article that I already had pulled up, which okay, let me see if this is the one I'm looking for. Um, so in late July of 2023, 17-month-old Elena was brought to the Middlesbrough ARH hospital. Based on the severity of the injuries, she was then flown to Eastern Tennessee Hospital. She was pronounced deceased on July of 2023. Now, if y'all go back and because I didn't have all this stuff pulled up. Um, I have pictures and things like that where Elena's young father held Elena after she passed away and took a picture of it. It was really weird. Now, mom and dad were not together. They were not together at all. So, um, that is one thing, okay? So, Elena passed on the 30th. She died from physical injuries after being sexually assaulted. Now, this is where I'm kind of like WTF because now they're saying that there wasn't enough DNA to identify the suspects. So Elena's mother, Erica Lawson, was taken into custody and indicted for red rum, failure to support child abuse, first-degree criminal abuse, first-degree wanton endangerment. Now, at that time, Bell County had filed a notice that they wanted to seek the DP against Elena's mother. Now, at that time, Middlesboro Police Department had opened an investigation to identify all the suspects who were part of SC actually assaulting and unaliving Elena. You guys, there were like 5. They were talking about like 5 different DNAs that were found on this baby. Okay? Now, on August 22nd, Erica Lawson was indicted for the red rum of Elena and other charges. Elena, hold on, I want to pull up the full timeline of events if I can get it up here. Oh, goodness. Mom took her to the hospital July 28th. Little Elena laid there for 2 days. 2 days. Her name, middle name was Rosalie. Rosalie. Now, and I'm trying to think back on the case, and hopefully Crystal will be with us here pretty soon. She's got a lot of things going on in her life, so if you don't get a chance to come up, Crystal, I completely understand. So I'm not understanding how they haven't associated the DNA to any significant person. Now, here's a update on DNA results that I found. All right. This is from Facebook. It's from a site called the Arkansas Justice Project. I'm just going to read this to you. A case update in the passing of 17-month-old Elena Hombre. Elena passed at East Tennessee Children's Hospital on July 30th, 2023. Her mother, Erica Lawson of Middlesboro, Kentucky, was indicted by the Bell County Grand Jury on August 22nd, following Elena's passing. Baby Elena's uncle went to the police after seeing his niece, trigger warning, with burns on her body in early June of 2023. Her mother disappeared with Elena, and the next time she was seen was when she was taken into the Kentucky emergency room. So Uncle had already seen in June of 2023 that Elena had been neglected and abused, right? And like I said, trigger warning. Hold on, I forgot to put my banner up. I'm sorry, you guys. I am sorry. Let me get to this banner that I put. Give me 1 second because I've got her. I put her on a. All right, where are you at? Is that it? I don't know if this is the one I don't think this is the one. I just made a banner right before I came live. Ugh, I am such a goober. No, that ain't it. I'm sorry, you guys. I completely, because I just made one. I've got so many banners. I'll just throw that one in there until I find the right one. Okay. Are you home, Crystal? I'll drop the link, darling. If you get a chance to grab it, if you don't, that's fine too. That's fine too, doll. I know how important this case is to you. Okay, so in June, the uncle says that he noticed trigger warning burns on little Elena. So in July 28th, is when mom takes her to the emergency room. They transfer her using the medical flight to Tennessee Level 1 Trauma Center, where little Elena was put on life support and passed from her injuries on the 30th. This bothers me. Oh, wait, what's happening here? You're logged. Can you guys still hear me okay? It's saying having trouble connecting. Is everybody still with me here? What is going on? Let me stop sharing for a minute. If you guys can hear me, can you put a 1 in chat, please? Please, please, someone. Let me get out of some of these tabs. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, Flies, you can still hear me. Okay. All right. If you guys can still hear me, that's good. Because usually Flies is like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna take up a connection for hearing aids. All right. I just wanted to make sure because I had a little notesy there saying that there was problem with the connection. Are we playing the lottery? No. No, we're not playing the lottery. I'm sorry. Not today. All right, let me get this back up here. So at one hospital, okay, hang on, I gotta find it now. At one hospital, why am I doxing my, oh, okay, hang on, I'll take it off. Lord, I can't win. I cannot win. Not that anybody knows who they are anyway. Lord help me here. All right, let's get Elena's picture back up. All right, there we go. All right, so they felt that Elena showed signs of physical and sexual abuse. The family believes that Erica was allowing trigger warning, big time trigger warning, you guys. Hey, Crystal. Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, darling, I can hear you. Okay, so
Okay.
at that time, they said Elena showed signs of, like I said, trigger warning, physical and sexual abuse. The family believed that Erica was allowing grown men to have sex with the 17-month-old in exchange for substances. She was arrested in connection to the child's passing on July 30th. She was originally charged with second-degree manslaughter, failure to report child neglect or abuse, first-degree criminal abuse against a child under 12, and first-degree wanton endangerment. They bound her case over to the grand jury on August the 8th. The recent indictment upgraded her charges to redrum, failure to report child dependency neglect or abuse, and wanton endangerment in the first degree. The DP is sought, which we now know they have dropped the DP. Now, they have even attempted to get the case dismissed as a capital case. It says here that they were unsuccessful. There are remaining persons of interest. It is believed that at least 4 men who were alleged to have sex with this baby were DNA tested with buccal swabs. Those results came back to the police department. They announced Wednesday there was no male DNA found on the child despite the sexual injuries that Elena sustained. They say
Okay,
that,
remind.
hold on. They say it's possible that the care was delayed while she was bathed and cleaned, but nothing is tying additional perpetrators through the DNA at this time. Oh my gosh, Crystal.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot. When I mean, I've personally saw the pictures that was taken of Elena after she got to the hospital, and um, I have never seen anything as horrific as those photos are in my entire life. Um, I think it's also important to note that this happened anywhere from 24 to 48 hours before Elena was taken to Middlesboro RAH hospital.
Right.
So yeah, she could have been bathed. DNA could have been got off of her. Nobody knows. Um,
Well,
but
obviously,
like I
Crystal, signs there is signs that she was actually harmed. The
yes,
hospital said
because
there were signs of it.
yeah, yes, and I have saw the work chat between the nurses that was coming in and the ones that were there that was treating Elena when she came into the hospital. So, and there's no reason for these nurses to be lying to one another in this chat. To me, there's absolutely zero reason for them to be lying and telling the nurse that's coming in what they're coming into and it not be the truth.
Right.
One thing that Elena's esophagus was ripped. I don't know a gentle way to say that,
Right. Right.
but even with that, I mean, Elena was not breathing, and her mother refused to get her help. She didn't call 911. We don't even know if she was there for the matter. This was a trap house. Um, yeah, when at first they were naming people that were potential suspects. Now, from that time till now, to my knowledge, 2 of those people are deceased.
Now, I remember, Crystal, Elena's father. And I think when we talked about it before, like I said, me and Crystal and Duchess have talked about this case before and showed some pictures. The father was, they were young, right? How old were dad and mom? Do you know off the top of your head?
Right off, I'm not sure. But if this now I have cropped this picture because I won't exploit this child, but I would like people to ask me, I mean, to look and tell me, is this, you can share it, a smile? Is this the face of somebody that's grieving their child literally just passed away?
Yeah, this is the picture I'm talking about that we seen, where he's holding Elena in his arms. This picture disturbed me. It really did. Now, I remember also us talking about one of the suspects or persons of interest that they possibly thought was involved with doing something to Elena. That the father was texting that guy and basically cool with him, wasn't he?
Well, he wasn't just texting him. There is a recorded phone call out there. I've got the phone call. I tried to edit it, but with the racial slurs that are being said in it, I
Right.
mean, editing is all that you would get out of it. But that particular suspect, I think it was back in the summer, had threatened another person, and that person ended up shooting him, and he is no longer alive.
And that was the guy
That
that I
was one of the,
remember Dad having a conversation with.
yes.
It was just, the whole thing was just weird to me. Now, Mom allegedly had left Elena at what you called a trap house, but she was, what, a few doors down, staying at somebody else's house?
Potentially. They don't know if she was down there or if she was in the house. That's one thing about this case. To my knowledge, the mom has not spoken. The dad is still in jail on unrelated charges. And
Right.
to my understanding, he was in jail and rehab. Really don't know about all that.
But didn't Dad
But
not, and I could, if I'm wrong, Crystal, make sure you let me know, because I'm trying to, refresh my memory on things. Didn't Dad was Dad's family trying to get Elena at that time, or Dad hadn't seen her for a period of time or something like that?
from my understanding, the only time that Dad did anything was when he wanted something from Mom. The person that pretty much supported Elena was Carol. And when Erica moved in with this other guy who is Harvey, she quit letting Elena be around Carol. I'm assuming because she knows Carol would go off if she sees something wrong with Elena. The dad did put on Facebook some posts, which, I mean, I can share those too. Just a second.
Yeah, because I do remember the conversation about Carol, and Carol had taken very, very good care of Elena and loved Elena like her own, and was Mom kind of jealous about that? I mean, because didn't Mom was like, you're not gonna get her anymore or something like that?
There was a bruise on Elena, and when Carol asked why Elena had this bruise on her, Erica claimed that it was from a sippy cup. She fell in the sippy cup rooster. Um, well, naturally, I mean, Carol looked at this kid as a grandkid, and they had, I mean, social services had been called, but she threatened not letting her see Elena at all anymore.
Right.
So Carol had not been able to see Elena, I think, for like 2 weeks. I don't want to be wrong on that, but there is text messages in between Erica and Trey, which is the mom and dad, that suggests that this person right here was who did it. But you can see right here it says Trey, and that's the dad. Put, I don't understand why Harvey ain't in jail. It was most likely him who was involved in my daughter's death. This is tragic, and there's really no justice for her, not even a second suspect that was with Erica. Well, we know better. There was like 4. Tomorrow, May 3 weeks since my daughter, I mean, at first he had cash apps going out and everything, you all. He went to
Right.
Florida with that money. Then let me see if I can find the one between him and
That was
Erica.
okay. So he put this up on Facebook, but then again, that's the person that he had that conversation with. And he was
Yes.
like, "Oh, we're all good, and I know you didn't do anything to my daughter," or whatever.
No, now that ain't the person. Harvey was who Erica was living with. This was another guy
Oh, okay. See, that's
that he
what's messed
was
up,
being
Crystal.
buddies with. Yeah. Yeah. It's all messed up in my
I
opinion.
don't understand
Um,
how they can say that DNA of 4 individuals, and then they end up with no DNA or not enough DNA to actually run it to find out exactly who those individuals were, right?
right.
That doesn't,
And
yeah, that's horrible.
I mean, the dad also put on Facebook that he found a shirt with feet prints all over it, a white t-shirt, which was, I'm trying to censor myself, remain calm the best I can, but that was
I know, it's hard, isn't it?
bloody footprints.
Right.
And I mean, this is a 17-month-old kid, and the best way that I could even possibly let people know what this child went through is everything people suspected happened in Summer's case. There is evidence that shows it happened to Elena
Yes, at 17 months old.
at
At
17
17
months
months
old.
old. I don't understand why mom hasn't, I mean, she's already got all these charges, and I hope that since they dropped the DP that she gets life in prison without the possibility of parole. But I don't understand why mom hasn't come out and said who the men were that she allowed to do this to Elena. We probably
Or who
will
all
never
was
know.
there that day. I mean, why is there not one person that will come out and say and speak up for this kid that was there that day? It's a trap house. There is dozens of people that were supposed to be there.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
they're all it sounds like that they're all covering for each other. It
yes,
sounds like
and
they're all
there was
covering for each other.
right here is something that spoke volumes to me. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Here,
But
let me remove her
when I
picture.
seen this, I was like, okay, well, first of all, I'll put this up, but you can decide whether you want to show this or not.
Okay.
This was a video that was taken of a burn that I don't know how much you've got to tell your audience, but this was a
Yeah, I
video that
talked
was
about
taken.
is it the and I'll say trigger warning, the burn that the uncle was worried about?
Reported. Yeah, but if you look at this hand, this is Trey that has videoed this. This is his
Oh, this
tattoos.
is the dad that's got her when he videoed this.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
I'm gonna
videoed it,
show
but
I'll show it real quick, and if I have to edit it out at some time, I will. Definitely trigger warning, you guys. Okay, that looks like a cigarette burn, doesn't it?
that's a crack pipe burn,
Oh,
allegedly.
wow, that's crazy. I took it off too quick. Oh my gosh, and so what did Dad do when he seen this?
He did nothing. It took the uncle reporting that.
That's what
Um,
the uncle reported, okay.
yes, and right here
So did
is
did Elena's mom and dad kinda how do I say this? Did they kind of use Elena on each other for different things? Because you mentioned earlier that
very
uh,
much.
usually he when he wanted something, right? He
Yeah,
would come around if he wanted something. And this
yeah,
is him and her, right? Or
yeah.
is that
This
him
is
and his
Erica,
girlfriend?
and this is no. That's Erica, and that's Trey. Um, you can tell that is the that it's him that did that video. There's that lightning bolt looking tattoo.
Well,
But
is
look
she
what
got a
she's got in
syringe
her.
in her hand, right? Or is that
Yes,
a pot?
that that is a syringe. And at the beginning of the case, Trey was trying to say that he did not know that his daughter was around drugs, but
Wow.
he clearly
Wow.
did.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Well, that's the thing too. Why would the uncle have to be concerned and say something about it instead of her father? That is disturbing.
It
That is
is.
very disturbing. It's all sad, Crystal, that, you know, uh and you're absolutely right. Why didn't anyone say something? They obviously had to see something, and for her to allow grown ass men to touch her daughter for substances is horrible. Horrible. Just horrible. And the
You
thing
don't
about it
have to put
is
you don't have
the
to
thing
put this one up. But the
okay.
reason that she has a hat on her head in this picture right here is because her hair had been pulled out. When I say
No way.
yes, when I say that what this kid went through was it was horrific. It
Oh,
was.
poor baby. Oh my gosh. So,
But now
do they
she
think
is
that
alive
mom
in
did
that
that,
picture.
or what exactly are they just getting mom for uh basically not being there, being neglectful? Um
Yeah.
I don't understand why grown grown men, and this is the sad thing, Crystal, is this scenario happens more than we know. Where young mothers have daughters, or even, I'm just going to say, children in general, and they start doing substances, and their want for the substances are so much higher than prioritizing their children. And they just hand these children over to these monsters. And could that be okay? So, we kind of talked about mom allegedly being a few houses down or whatever when and leaving Elena at that trap house or whatever by herself with all these people. Do you think that if that is the case, that she didn't want to be there when they were doing those things to Elena? So she made sure that she wasn't in the same home that Elena was in while they
Well,
this just blows my mind. Just blows
I
my
think
mind.
she worried about being high more than she worried about her kids because, uh, again, she had to be begged to take this baby to the hospital. When they were airlifting this kid from Kentucky to Children's Tennessee Hospital, she didn't even go with her. She went back home.
Wow. That says a lot right there. That says a lot right there. She might have been she might have known that if she got to the other hospital that she would probably be arrested immediately. Maybe she thought that. She
Well,
knew
I really don't. I don't understand why she wasn't arrested immediately, to be honest with you,
to
when
begin
she
with.
was at Millsboro ARH, because, like I said, I do have those text messages, um, and they're horrible. Just
The
what they
text,
witnessed. I couldn't imagine being a nurse in that field when Elena came in to that hospital.
yeah, it would have to be horrifying. It is
And
very hard too. People don't realize when you're a nurse or a caregiver like that and you have a situation with a child in this type of condition, you really have to get your mind right to even be able to do your job. And it's very hard for some people. So,
you know, I remain calm. I do want to take an opportunity and say that I appreciate you, because
oh, thanks,
today I reached
Crystal.
out to you because there was this update. And when I sent you that message, I had no doubt in my mind that you would let people know what the update is.
Of
Um,
course.
the, you know, there is so many cases online, but how many people are talking about this little girl?
I
I
get it.
mean, not very many, and I've begged people to talk about her. I mean, I'm not asking for views to my channel. I could care less as long as justice is served for this kid. And the
Yeah, her name
plaque,
needs to be out there. Her name needs to be out there, Crystal. Many of these children, like I said, and I know you'll agree with me, if I could be on this channel 7 days a week, 24/7, just talking about different children's cases, just talking about different children's cases. And girl, you knew I would do that. You knew I would do that for you. I'm just glad that you trusted me to text me and let me know and let me share it on my channel again. Because we haven't forgot about Elena over here at all. I've never forgot about that little girl. And I know, Crystal, that when you have a case like this, it really does take a toll on you, and your heart is there, and I said that too. It's not that anybody's wanting all this attention for their channel per se, or clicks or views or or money or anything like that. It's about these children. And it does get
Exactly.
frustrating. You see drama going on and people getting thousands of views and people loving it and everything else. But when it comes to a channel that primarily tries to cover these horrific real life events that happen to children, it's disappointing in that way, you know, because once your heart is in it, for these kids, yeah, you get a little frustrated when, you just feel like it comes down to you feel like nobody cares. You feel like nobody
It
cares.
gets very discouraging. Um, and like you said, I mean, it's got nothing to do with views. My channel, I haven't even monetized it. And,
Right.
but with Elena's case, I had to step back and just start doing mainly code cases because, I mean, people that's watched me knows this. It affected me to where I wasn't even sleeping. We did the Christmas uh, parade for Elena, and I mean, I never asked for a donation or nothing like that. I did that with my money, with my own
Right.
money. But
Right.
I can remember standing there as we were getting ready to go through that Christmas parade and thinking, because it was getting the edge of dark, Michelle Macklin was with me and her husband. And I looked at Michelle and I said, can you believe that people's just letting their children run down these dark alleys like this? Because we
Hmm.
know there's suspects out here. Whoever did this to Elena is still walking these streets. And
Isn't
that's
that
what
a
was running
horrible
through my
feeling?
mind. And when we were actually marching, there was kids on the side of the road that recognized the banner, recognized her picture, and you could hear them say, "That's Elena." These kids knew of her. And
Wow.
then to be able to get her birthday, which is coming up February the 20th, um, declared as Elena Hembry Day, well, that was awesome. So, like I said earlier, I on my channel, I keep that plaque on my desk when I cover a case because I can look down, and to me, this applies to any of these cases. But it says, may this day serve as a reminder of her legacy, her kindness, and her profound impact on our city. Let us honor her memory by striving to make our community a better place for all. And I mean, that's all
And,
that we can
and
do
that's
with
the thing
any of these
too.
cases.
That's the thing too. In a lot of these cases too, you want to try to have these children's, even though they're babies and toddlers and you know children and even up to teenagers, you want to try to have have them remembered as being little people. You don't want them to just, of course, when people think of Elena or whatever, they're going to remember her case and how horrific it is. But tell me, Crystal, about Elena, that you know of about Elena, not the horrific things that happened to her, what you've learned about baby Elena. Can you do that?
Since I've started covering her case, I've got a really good vision of who Elena was because I speak to Carol almost weekly. Um, Elena was a kid that was, she says, she was outgoing. She loved to play hide and go seek. Um, she fit like the devil when she was getting her hair fixed, but once she did, she'd look in the mirror to see how pretty she was. Um, she loved pancakes. She called Carol Mama. Um, Elena was very outgoing. She was 17-month old, but I mean, you can look into those eyes. She had so much spirit about her. Elena liked Baby Shark. Elena liked cheese puffs, but not the cheese balls. She was a happy child. She loved going for walks.
You know, Crystal, what's sad to me too is that her mother seems to have not wanted Elena to, and this is just my opinion, just from, following, and seems to have wanted to make sure that Elena wasn't around people that per se cared about her.
It got that way. It's important to know that when Erica moved in with Carol, Carol was a recovering addict. So Carol wasn't allowing that in her house. And that ultimately led to Erica was wanting to do, those things to get high. But
Right.
she ended up moving out. But for the time that Elena was living with Carol, Elena was loved. When I started looking at this case, I wondered who loved this kid.
Right.
And then I met Carol.
Right.
And I
And
mean,
see,
this
that's sad
case
too.
has
That's sad
about
too that
destroyed her.
it's sad to me that a mother, period, it doesn't matter who the mother is, would prioritize substances over their child. And you said that Carol had gotten clean, was doing well, and because of the substance issue, uh, Elena's mother did not want to stay with her. And to not prioritize Elena bothers me a lot because she could have just left her with Carol. But
Yeah.
instead, she chooses to take this baby with her and then prioritizes the substances over Elena by, and I guess we have to say allegedly, but we kind of know that mom used Elena to receive her substances for basically pimping out your 17-month-old child. And that is horrifying.
I can't understand that for the life of me. I have devoted the last few years of my life protecting children. And I've saw a lot of different cases. None that I can really speak about. You know why, but it happens more times than you would realize when a mom will pick a substance or a man over her kid.
Absolutely, Crystal. We've seen it many, many times in a lot of cases that I've covered. A lot of cases I've covered.
With Summer Wells, she changed my life. I'm just going to put this out there because, I mean, this is kind of a part of my testimony. She changed my life. Like everybody else, when I saw her case, I wanted to do something to make a difference. The first thing I did was make a video on YouTube. It was the Summer Wells Challenge. But it did not take me long because I didn't even know there was true crime genre on YouTube until Summer Wells.
Right.
But it did not take me long to see that I wasn't going to be able to do much on YouTube.
Right.
So that's the reason my husband and I got into foster care. And
Well, and the thing about it is, though, Crystal, um, you are doing something. You are doing something. And let me tell you, I give Summer Wells credit for me being on YouTube. If it wasn't for Summer, I don't think I would have ever have even attempted to come on YouTube and talk about missing and exploited children. I did not think that I could even be successful at it. And I'm not saying I'm real successful at it, but I am doing what my heart is telling me to do, which is to talk about these children and let people know that this happens. Now, one thing, Crystal, and if we look at mom's charges, I don't understand. And so she does have federal charges, right? Am I right about that?
she she does, but if they
This
will
is
have,
what I
I'll say this, they will have to prove that she was there to get any form of a murder charge on her.
and
The
this is
neglect,
what I
yeah,
don't
that's
understand. Yeah. This is what I don't understand. If even if they can't identify these monsters who did these horrible things to Elena, can't mom get charged with some type of I want to say trafficking. I want to say can she not be charged with um something along those lines, because I know that she's being she's has the wanton um charges and neglect and all that other stuff, but it's like, can they not federally get her for something like that?
I doubt it,
I
because proving it is where the problem would come in. And from what I understand, sadly, and I mean, I've talked about this to an extent, but just with the neglect and failure to report and wanton endangerment, um, in the state of Kentucky, that I think it falls under a Class C felony.
Well, this
And
is a word
that's
that
10
sticks
years,
out.
people.
Right.
10
But
years.
this is the word that sticks out to me, is the word intentional. I don't
I hope that gets
understand.
her more. I mean, personally, I think she needs to be in jail for the rest of her life. But I've watched every single one of these trials. Every single
I
one of
mean
them I have watched and
Come on,
been on the
Crystal.
Zoom while they done it.
Looking
And
at this whole case, they're going to talk about whether it was intentional or not intentional, because to me, she knew what was being done to her child. She had to have known what was being done
absolutely,
to her child. How can that not be intentional? How can that not be intentional?
in my opinion, it would be intentional. And like I said, I think she should get life in prison. But from sitting back and watching how this is played out from the first hearing till now, I mean, they put the R kit, they did the R kit. They got the results back in August.
Right.
The Commonwealth held those results till the following February. not explaining what kind of kid it was. So, and now the only hope, I mean, and I'm glad that there's a different Commonwealth attorney now, because Lisa, to me, she wasn't doing her job. I would watch
Right.
these and my heart would be ripping out because
I
she wasn't
I
never.
just um this bothers me about the DNA and not being able to find at least one or two suspects. Now, they said that they looked into hundreds of leads and did multiple interviews. They gathered the DNA from certain subjects and questioned, their role in the incident. And then they sent the DNA for more testing or to be tested. Um, I don't understand how. I mean, what are they're saying that basically they there's not enough DNA to prove? I don't understand that. I'm just totally duh on that. Nicole said, "Look at Casey Anthony. They knew what she did. They couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt." Very true.
Exactly.
Very true.
I mean, it breaks my heart. It really does. There is, give me just a second. I'm going to see if I can't find. Oh, just a minute. I thought I saw it a minute ago. Let me see here. There is a text message with one of the alleged suspects out there. I think I have it on here.
Well, Crystal, I don't
Oh,
want you to ever think that what you're doing on YouTube isn't important. I don't care if two people are watching you. That means two people care about what you're talking about. Because what you're doing is fantastic. I adore you and I have followed you um and I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing. I really do. So,
thank you.
um well, you sometimes look, I think sometimes we all need to be told that because we get frustrated and I've gotten frustrated at times where I have just sat and cried and thinking, is what am I doing? Nobody seems to be interested in a lot of these children cases that I'm talking about. And, uh, I just put my bitch mode face on and I'm going to talk about these kids. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Well, that's
Okay.
that's how I feel. I mean, if there's two people in my chat, there's two people in my chat.
Yeah.
If a case is passionate to me, I'm going to be talking about it. This is the message between him and Erica.
And she's speaking to him and says, "Trey, I haven't been anywhere, and that's the only place I was. He, oh,
Harvey.
Harvey's our baby." But there was no proof that Harvey did that, right? Oh,
Nope.
and then they
But
called each other on the phone.
yes. But like I said, remember in the beginning, he said he knew nothing, that Elena, what he did, had no idea Elena was in harm's way. That right there,
Right.
to me, says he did
Proof
know.
that he
And
did. Yes.
yes, he had warrants. In my opinion, this is my opinion, but he had warrants and he didn't. That's a fact. He did have those. That's why he's in jail right now. But I think he didn't do anything because he didn't want to go to jail.
Right.
So in
Right. So
return,
so basically Harvey already had warrants anyway. So,
Trey did. Trey tried to say he didn't
oh,
know
Trey
anything, that
did.
Elena was in, yes, that Elena was in harm's way. but at that time he had warrants for a stolen vehicle and possession of substance.
Well, that's what
And
I was gonna ask you because, uh, uh, Trey used substances also, right?
yes,
So it makes me wonder if at times Trey was overlooking what was done to his daughter because possibly he benefited from that a little bit also. Now, I don't know. It's
very
just
well,
something I'm
very
throwing
well
out
could
there.
have. Like I said, I do have that recording. I listened to it good between him and JD, and he seemed fine. He even said, "Love you, man," at the end of it.
Yes, that was the one I was talking about. That was the one I was talking about. Because I remember us showing that and talking about it at the time. Because
Yeah,
we got
nothing that
kinda
I've showed.
last time that we talked about it, I think was that I no, I think we've talked about Elena more than once over here, you and I know Duchess came in and was talking with us also, and, we you guys were putting up a lot of different text, and, we went over and, watched a vigil, which was pretty interesting, that vigil, uh, that you
Yeah,
have on your channel and I showed over here, because wasn't Trey with a girlfriend? Am I wrong about that?
um,
He was with a girlfriend then or something, or
there was a
I could
girl
be
with
wrong.
him, but there was a girl with him, but he was also with his sister. Um, when that video first came out, it came out that that's what I meant by at the beginning of this. There was a lot of speculation. A lot of people was speculating that the girl that was standing right beside of him was his girlfriend and she looked young. But that girl actually showed up at the Christmas parade that we did, and that is his sister.
Oh, his sister. See, I just don't so, okay, after the uncle, was throwing a fit over the trigger warning pipe burn, um, that is when Elena's mother took her and took off, right? Or
She was
did
already at
she
a Harvey's. No, she was already at Harvey's when that was turned into CPS. And they said they couldn't find Elena. And
which makes no
Carol,
sense, right?
Carol
Because
said, if I'll go drive by and show you where the house is. I'll
and
point it where the
CPS
house
and
is.
CPS still didn't,
They still did
react
not remove
to
Elena.
wow, that is so
Um,
sad.
Elena has a sister that was already living with a grandmother. So,
See, that
I
bothers me
mean,
too, and I've covered cases like that where other children were already taken from the parents and, were living with other family members, but for some reason, these babies are left in the care of these, adults that if they've already had children removed, why are you allowing them to keep a child, period? And we talked
now
about I
that
just
is something that I have tried getting a petition passed and everything. I think that if you've ever harmed a child, that you should not be able to have custody of another child.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think that you should have that right. Anybody
I
can
just
give birth, not everybody is a mother.
right, right. And we just covered a case over here, I can't remember, uh, Crystal, to be honest, I cover so many different s children's cases and stuff like that. I have to regroup and know which ones I'm talking about, because it's like my mind, there's just so many, and so many of them are there's similarities in them that I have to go, okay, we covered a case like that. What case was it? Because we just talked about not long ago a case where family had the other children and turned around, and the baby was left uh, with the individual, and of course they were unalived. It was so sad. Thank you, Nicole. I adore you, lady. It's heartbreak. It is
We
so heartbreaking.
we need a completely overhaul of the system. Foster care was originally designed for parents and people that got down on their luck, say they got laid off and wasn't able to keep a roof over their head. That was the original design for foster care, was to help out families that needed that help. But it became a system that, that should still be the thing, but there's also abuse and neglect, and unfortunately, most of these children fall into that category, when the original laws are still designed around parents that have got down on their luck
Right.
and needed a little help. And because of that, it makes it so hard for these kids that could be adopted to get out of the system to be adopted.
Well, and we have to
There's not
remember
enough
too
foster
that
parents.
in a lot of states, when um, you know, the I'll call it math, but when these cities were starting to be overrun with these math addicts and stuff, those children were being removed from the home. So that also put stress on some of our child protective services. Um,
It
I'll
does.
never, I'll
A lot
never
of
forget. I'll never forget um, when I learned, and this was a long time ago, when I was talking about this, that these agencies were so overrun and not having places to put these children, that there were children sleeping in the offices of some of these
yes,
state child protective services. Um,
and in some cases, they still do.
and then it's
I
horrible
mean,
too, Crystal, because you've got people who will become foster parents only for the check. And a
and that's
lot of these,
ridiculous too.
yes, a lot of these kids are being put into the system. And I seen a a yard sign that was stuck in a yard. I've seen quite a few of them in my area, that it says, "You want to be a foster parent?" And I'm like, "Is that all it is? You can stick a sign in the yard and, hey, you want to be a foster parent? You're going to make a lot of money off these kids." And people are more, not everybody, but a lot of people are more in tuned to the dollar sign than really being in a position to want to actually take care of these children, and it's very sad.
But people, I feel like I can speak on this, and and it be as close to professional as it can get, because I am a foster mom. I also work for
Right.
CASA in order to be a voice for these children. But if people do this and do it right, you're not making a lot of money, because you will be spending what you get on these kids. I've said it before. I get $23 a day for one of the kids.
Right. Right.
And I've got a set of twins that's 2-year-old. Do the math with that with diapers.
Right.
But it's not about the money to the people that really care.
Right.
Um, just in the group, I won't tell what agency I'm through, but just through the agency that I go through, there is 117 children that are in state's custody. And this is a private agency.
Right.
There's 7 families.
Wow.
Do that math. But then you've also got, and this hurts, you've got people that falsely report out of wanting to get even with people. And
Yes.
that's ridiculous. That is, I
Yes,
mean, it's
and
really ridiculous because it takes a lot of time and resources, because you have to look into every allegation. And while you're
right.
doing that, looking into that false report, there is kids that are actually going through something and need removed from a situation that's having to wait.
I remember the
Um,
case of the little boy, Fernandez. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. His last name, I believe, was Fernandez or Hernandez. And CPS had been called numerous times. The teachers reported things going on, and Gabriel
yeah,
Hernandez. And it was so sad to me, and because a lot of those CPS workers, they put charges on them. And I think that even though they should have put charges on, some of those employees, I think that a lot of people looked at that and, thought, I would never want to do that for a living, because things like this can transpire. And I know me and Flies had a conversation also about some of these caseworkers having 50 cases at a time. They're
yeah,
overburdened with cases.
yes, ma'am.
A- And
Um,
that is so sad, because then they document, like they actually, an example, do a home visit to check on a child when they've never even been to that home. So they
and see, that is,
basically false report, uh, just to keep their jobs. So,
there, one thing that really blows my mind is how some of these kids slip through the cracks. And I guess it's because I've been fortunate, because there's not a week that goes by that there isn't a worker in my home.
right,
And I mean, because they are doing their job. They come, they check on the kids, they check on the home, make sure it's up to date, make sure it's still in code, make sure these fire alarms are still working properly. Uh, but the sad thing is when these kids go home, they don't check that. They
that's
don't
what's
check if the home
sad.
they're going home to is up to
And
code.
look at
And
all these situations. I mean, we can go back into the Harmony Montgomery case when her father was given custody of her. Um, and the mother wasn't made aware of it. Um, she didn't make it to court or something like that. And I mean, it is just, sometimes we see these children being given to a parent. We just covered a case, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but where, what was it? Dad was given custody, and oh gosh, I can't remember what direction I was going with that. But yeah, these dads are just given custody, and then the kids are just never oh, it was dad went through Hayden. Thank you, Nicole. we just talked about the Hayden Manis case, and Dad was given custody, and he had just came out of, no, I don't think that was Hayden, but anyhow, he had just got out of rehab, and he had been in jail. So he did his rehab and did whatever he had to do. Grandpa had custody at the time because when he was taken, they had found this baby in a hotel room with a with an overabundance of the H substance in that room. Now he was
Oh
about
my,
1. Grandpa got him. Grandpa got him, and when when Dad had went through, did his rehab and everything else, they went back to court. They wouldn't even let Grandpa speak, and they immediately gave custody back to Dad. And yeah, yeah, it was Hayden. Thank you, guys. It was Hayden, and they hadn't seen that little baby in 5 years. 5 years, Crystal.
oh
They
goodness.
hadn't
It,
seen that
like I
baby.
said, the system needs an overhaul. It needs an overhaul, like horrible, because just with what I saw, it's designed, like I said, when foster care first started, it was designed to help the parents get on their feet. So what do you think it's doing right now?
Right,
It's designed to help the parents. There is more help goes towards those parents than it does these kids. Now, don't get me wrong; these kids get um, like therapists and their psychiatrists and stuff. All that gets took care of, but they go, like, say a kid's get took for drugs.
right.
Sorry,
No, you're
but
fine. Go ahead.
the state's paying for that rehab. They're paying for that parent's parenting, but they're getting it free.
So let me ask you this, Crystal.
And
Do foster parents have to go through any type of parenting classes or anything like that before?
yes,
Um,
ma'am. Yes,
okay.
every 6 weeks I take a training, and
Now,
every
is that
year I
mandatory
requalify.
though? Is
Yes,
that something that's mandatory?
yes, it is. In order to keep my license every year, I have to requalify with 40 hours of continuing training. Um, and like I said, I help with CASA too, so I take more trainings than just as a foster mom. Um, my home is a medically complex home, so I take those trainings as well. So I average right at, I'd say, 60, 70 hours a year
Right.
training.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand, these foster children who fall through the cracks, and a lot of them, by the time that they're found, they aren't being fed, and they are, in dire conditions when they are found, and I don't understand. That's why I asked you if it was mandatory, how those children fall through the cracks. I I
And
I'm
ha- and I will say every state is different. Um, like the agency that I go through, like I said, it's a private agency. It still has to go by the state's rules. But I mean, every adult in my home is fingerprinted every year. Every year we're fingerprinted and a federal background check is done.
Well, you know
So,
what bothers me too? I've seen cases where women have had children in hospitals that have tested positive for not not marijuana, but really serious substances. And for some reason, these children are released to the still released to the parents or whatever. Now, I've also seen cases where uh, parents have smoked marijuana, and believe it or not, I've known of OBGYNs who have told patients, look, if if smoking marijuana can keep your appetite up and all this other stuff, please by all means do that. But then what I seen happening was when the babies were born and they were tested for substances, no other substances found, just marijuana. um, Immediately it's CPS coming to the house and doing swabs, and you they make them they put them in a position where you've got to show that you're clean, and then CPS will of course drop the case or whatever. But I'm like, uh personally, I've seen this happen. You're gonna mess with someone who, smoked marijuana to keep, uh, keep themselves healthy and, thriving. I've never seen anyone who smoked marijuana, their baby be born in an addictive state like another substance. And I don't know. To me, I'm just like, that to me is uh just a money making machine because
Yeah, I mean,
because
babies can
when you
actually be born addicted to nicotine.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
how they get through the cracks, if they're already in the system, I have no idea. Um, two kids that I have in my home. I mean, I'll just put it that way.
Right.
They didn't slip through the cracks, thank God. Um, but I mean, we're going to find with everything with whether it be social workers, foster parents, police officers, teachers, doctors, nurses, whatever it be. There's good and bad out there and everything. And that saying, if you see something, say something, people really need to know how to do that. It doesn't necessarily mean call up your local uh, DCBS and report it. Call the law, because a social worker can't just come into your home.
Yeah,
A
most
police officer can. All they have to do is not answer the door, and the social worker's hands are tied. Police officer is a different situation
well, I don't
altogether.
know though, because I've seen some cases where CPS has become involved. The judge has stated that CPS needs to go in and do a home check, like they check the refrigerator and the water and minute things. I think they're just making sure that the kids have food and are fed and have hot water, et cetera, et cetera. And I've just seen I've seen a case where CPS came, the parent wouldn't let them in, so they called law enforcement, and law enforcement came uh, because is law enforcement allowed to come into the home if they don't have a warrant from a judge?
They are, if it is
If it
like,
has to
say,
do with a
okay,
child?
say yes. I mean, if I saw, when I say if you see something, say something, I'm not saying if you hear something through the
Right,
grapevine.
right,
So, like, say if I went out here and I saw my neighbor abusing their child, and
right,
I called the law and they're doing a welfare check, they're not supposed to leave there without laying eyes on that child.
right, right.
So they can go in and see what's going on. Now, a social worker, if they're called out, first of all, they've got to get that paperwork. So that's time that's delayed for that kid.
Right.
Then they've got to get out to the home. By then, 9 times out of 10, the parent doesn't know they're coming, which is
Right.
total BS.
Right.
And all they got to do is not come to the door. So, and it's important to know sometimes there's like they teach us in training. This is something I did not know. But, you see people that have babies and you're like, oh, that baby's so good, it never cries. That's not always a good thing. Do you
That is
know
very true, Crystal.
for a newborn child, it takes 3 days. 3 days of that baby crying to figure out nobody's coming to help me.
Right. You're
So
absolutely
it
right.
quits. And then when that starts happening, then you get these mental disorders, which like RAD, reactive attachment disorder,
Right.
that comes along with that, where they just, and I mean, so people can seem like the best parents ever, but just really pay attention. If they're not strolling, if they're not cruising, they shouldn't be bruising. If they're not crawling and walking, they shouldn't have bruises on them. The back of the ear is real hard for a kid to bruise, but that's one
Right.
thing you can look at. Notice where these children's bruises are. I mean, and think about when your kid fell. How did it try to catch itself? Where did it get bruised? Shins,
Yes.
elbows, arms? Yeah, that's normal. But like the back of the ear, no. It's real hard to bruise. But you know what? It's something that a lot of people with anger issues will do. Grab that kid by the ear, and and it bruises them.
Right. Well, Crystal, I'm glad you got to pop on here. And so I'm going to throw a case at you really quickly. There's parents who had a set of twins. Now, this is weird. The babies were born at 32 weeks on October 7th of 24. They kept them in the NICU, which is, for people who don't know, neonatal
Yeah.
intensive care unit, until they were allowed to be released from their parent. Now, around December 11th, mom brings the twins to the hospital, and she had missed 4 medical appointments per child. Okay. And Crystal, this case is driving me crazy. So when mom finally brings them to the hospital, they are under the first percentile for their age. So, so they missed appointments on 11/12, 11/13, 11/19, and 12/9. And like I said, 12/11, when she brings the babies to the hospital and they're both underweight. Now, when they were born on October 7th, baby 1 was 4.16 pounds. Baby 2 was only 3.74 pounds. On December 11th, which is when they said mom had brought the babies in finally, they were, baby 1 was 5.78 pounds. Baby 2 was 5.04 pounds. Now, these parents also had other children. Now, I'm not sure how old the other parents were. And they said that mom and dad both had, how did they put it? They were not very smart. I want to say they had some disabilities or whatever. So
Intellectually challenged?
yes, intellect. Thank you. So I couldn't understand, and they are charging both of these parents because they said even if the mother had some sort of, postpartum or something like that, that the father still should have been responsible to feed these children. Now, mom said she was feeding them 4 ounces of formula every 4 hours.
Oh my goodness,
But
that wasn't enough.
no, it wasn't
Wait a minute.
enough.
Okay. Can I jump in just a second?
Yeah, jump.
With twins being born premature, naturally they're going to be smaller.
Right.
But in order to get their birth, and I'm going to be honest with you, mine's 2. They're still smaller than the average 2-year-old. And they go to regular doctor's appointments. But in order to get that that weight up, you are supposed to be feeding them every hour, even during the night.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that
I always
grabs
knew
my
it was
attention
like
right
every
off the
1 or
bat.
2 hours.
And a
And
premature kid, I'm gonna be honest with you, is not gonna drink 4 ounces every 4 I mean, like, wait 4 hours
right,
and drink 4
right.
ounces.
I would
They're
think that
not
that
going
would
to.
I would think that
Their
that would
stomach's
kind of
too
be
small.
overfeeding,
So
right?
that's to me, that's a red flag because normally you will not get a premature child to drink that much. But she should have been feeding them every hour.
Well, and this is a
And
problem
also,
also.
before they left NICU, they should have went through training on every bit of this. How often, what to feed them,
Right.
how to get them
And I'm
to
sure
eat.
they did, but I think what is confusing for me is the fact that if they were twins, why couldn't the pediatrician see them at the same time? Why
They
did their appointments have to be scheduled different? And so that was one of the things I questioned because I'm like, I mean, they had these babies scheduled a day apart from each other. So it put these parents where, uh, and even though, yes, they should have kept the appointments, that's not what I'm saying. But I would have felt that um, they could have set these babies' appointments up for the same day instead of, uh, 2 days in a row. Now, I don't know what this family situation was because this is a new case that just came out. Um, so I haven't really got to research it a lot. But yes, they are charging the parents because they say that they should have kept those doctor's appointments. Now, like I
Yeah,
said, it's
that's
a new
medical
case, so
neglect.
I haven't
It's
really,
medical neglect. Why
yes, that's
they
what they're
are
saying,
scheduled
medical
different,
neglect.
I have no idea why in the world they would schedule them different if they're having the same appointment, unless maybe there was one child that needed more attention than the other one, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. Um, but that, I mean, I can see them charging them because that is medical neglect. They should,
Yes,
if
exactly.
there's a
That is
kid
one of
sick, it needs to go to the doctor.
yeah,
If they've got regular appointments, they need to be able to meet those regular appointments. Um,
right, right. And I don't
and
understand, if the parents did have intellectual difficulties, I would think that the the pediatrician and staff would maybe try to accommodate them a little bit more. I don't know. Um, like I said, it's a new case. I hadn't even really got into researching the whole thing. And so, yes, the babies did go without being seen for a while, but it was interesting to me because with the other children also, it was said, well, dad should have been feeding these babies and they have other children's too. So the other children should have taken some responsibility on feeding these babies also. But what you said
Uh, First
earlier,
of all, it's no kid's place to be an adult.
exactly. Thank you, ma'am, because that's what I
Uh,
said too.
se- Second of all, these children were released from NICGRAD or NICU.
See, and
Um,
that's what Crystal, and this is what I don't understand either. I can see the kids being released, but they released them from the NICU. And
yeah, I'm used to
so I
calling
was
it
I
NICU
was like,
grad.
I don't know. To me, I don't understand why, the babies maybe were kept a little bit longer after they were released from the NICU instead of going straight from the NICU home to their parents. So I
And
don't
I
know.
don't, what
This
I'm
this
having a
this
hard
case
time
is
with is if they were intellectually challenged, why did the training at NICU not catch that? How did they
that's
check off to
yes,
let these kids come home with them? Uh,
exactly.
that
I
that mind
exactly.
boggles me.
See,
But I mean,
and see, we were boggled too because me and Blythe talked about this forever yesterday when I came up on this case. And I mean, we were really reaching and we were like, okay, wait, was this kind of done because maybe they felt that the parents couldn't provide for these kids and it they kind of set them up for a downfall. I don't know. We were just kind of reaching. We were talking about everything.
well,
And
my backup question to that would be: if the other kids that are home, have they been checked out? How
yeah,
are they?
I
When was their last doctor's appointment? Was
exactly.
their
So
appointments kept regularly?
I don't, yeah. Well, that's why I said I haven't got into try to research the whole case yet. This is a new case that just popped up in front of my face, and I was like, wow, yeah, this case is going to be very interesting on what we actually learn. Because that's why I was
That makes
telling
sense,
you
Blythe.
that appointments were made 2 days in a row. And I was like, because even if one may have needed a little bit more care or something, they were just they were recommended to have regular weight checks. So
Yeah.
basically, they were just wanting them to come in. And of course, we know how they do with babies. They check their length, their height, and, weight and all that other stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of dig into this and see, what I can learn about the situation and how the other kids at home were treated and different things like that. So,
Blythe
but
says they're still there. So, I mean,
well, they're still at the hospital now because well, actually, I think that they are actually they are fostered already and doing very well and have gained weight, which is another problem because once the babies were taken and started being fed on a schedule in a regular basis, the babies are supposed to be thriving right now. So I don't know. Weird
I
case.
mean, the
Very
weight
weird case.
check, I mean, I've been through that. Um, every week you go back, they do a weight check. If the kid starts dropping weight, they can put them back in the hospital, put them back on the feeding tubes to get their weight back up. I mean, that's the important of weekly weight checks until they're at a weight where they can do bi-weekly. And then you go from bi-weekly to monthly. Um,
Well, I agree with what you said, definitely, about taking these children and feeding them 4 ounces every 4 hours. I agree with you 1,000%. That's a lot. That's a lot for newborns to be taken in. Um, and like you said, they should have been fed like every hour, even if it was an ounce every hour. But 4 ounces within a 4 hour period is just, to me, a lot. And I do agree that they should have taken the babies in, had them checked, made sure that, they were being sustained on the type of formula and stuff they were on. And but it's going to be very interesting with them. The minute that they said that these parents had intellectual challenges, I was like, wow, this is going to be a little bit different of a case here. So,
but I mean, if they just took the twins, that's fishy to me. I mean, I'm sorry, and I hate to sound like I'm speculating, but if the twins are in danger of malnutrition, why are the other children not? And I mean, how long were they in NICU? Because if, for
well,
example,
that
my babies
that
was 2 months. They had to be
that is
5
what I'm
pounds to get out of
saying.
NICU.
They were the only thing right now that I know is that they were born at 32 weeks on October 7th. And the parents brought them to the hospital on December 11th, and that they missed the month appointment because it seemed like that the appointment, what I say, was 11/12. So that was month after. If they Okay, this I that's what I'm saying, Crystal. This makes no sense to me. These dates make no sense to me.
Yeah,
And
because
right
first of all,
now,
it shouldn't have been a 1 month appointment. It should have been a 1 week appointment.
exactly, exactly. It just right now the only thing it's saying is, um, yeah, they're not really given a date on when they were released.
Yeah, there's
So,
so many things that they can do if a kid isn't gaining weight. Now, I mean, maybe one baby wasn't taking the milk as good as the other baby. I don't know. But
right,
there is so many different formulas now. There's formulas that have extra calories in them, and
right.
that helps these children specifically gain weight. Uh, Now, are they being preemie? Now, they're not as preemie as mine was, my babies were, but
See,
being
that's
preemie,
what
are they
I'm
gonna gain weight
wondering.
the same way a full-term kid is? No. The average is a pound a month, but I don't
That's
understand why.
that's my question. Exactly what day were they released? They were born on 10/7. The first appointment was um 11 something, and mom brings them in December 11th. So, and
And
the
they had missed
first
4
appointment
appointments.
was on 11/12. So that's my question also. What day were they released? That will make a lot of difference on what day they were released, because it tells us what the babies weighed when they left the NICU. It is they're saying 5 pounds, and I can't remember what I said. 5 pounds. One of them was 5'7", 8", and one was 5'04". So
Okay, so
both,
they were both over 5
but
pounds when they left. That's
but
normal.
they're but no, what they're saying is that's what they weighed on December 11th when mom brought them to the hospital. So unless it's being reported wrong, it doesn't
What
make a lot of
how big
sense.
were they when they were born then? Because the average weight for a premature kid, and I know this because like I said, you don't know how much I stress over mine gaining weight,
Right.
is a pound a month.
Well, that's what I'm saying. October 7th, one baby weighed 4.16 pounds. The other baby weighed 3.74 pounds. December 11th, when mom brings them to the hospital, one weighed 578 and the other one weighed 5.04. So I mean, I'm not saying that the babies shouldn't have weighed more, but this is showing that the weight was increased. Baby number
Yeah.
2, you know, yeah. So I don't know.
See,
It's
that's
weird.
kind of my point. They're low on their weight, but only by ounces. Do you see what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
the average is 1 pound a month. That's what their goal is.
Okay.
So
So if baby number 1 was 4.16 pounds, we're talking about a
then
little
it should have
over
been
2
6.1.
months.
It should have been
Yeah.
6.1.
But on December 11th, it was 5.78. I think that's why me and Flies were questioning, uh, was because of the intellectual disabilities, uh, were the parents kind of put into a position to fail to start with. There's just so much I got to look at with this case, Crystal. Like I said, it just kind of dropped in my
Yeah,
lap. So,
because
um,
it don't sound like that they were bad underweight as far as being malnourished.
right,
But there is a problem that they had appointments and didn't go to them,
right. And I want to
because
find
that
out
is
also.
medical neglect.
Yes, they're getting them for medical neglect and neglect. So that's questions that I had. Did the babies have diaper rashes? You know, and I don't know any of that yet because I haven't gotten into trying to research everything yet. But they did have other children, and it doesn't say, well, I mean, I think they got thrown in jail, so I would think that someone had to have taken the other children, but
They
they
could have
have
went into
them.
kinship.
This is the criminal conspiracy on or about said date with intent of promoting or facilitating the crime of endangering the welfare of children. The defendant did conspire and agree with Marcus Medella, whoever that is, that they or one or more of them would engage in conduct constituting such crime or crimes, and in furtherance, therefore, did commit the overt act of not feeding the twins or caring for them in an appropriate manner, rendering both to the hospital for further care is what they are, the penal code. So
Mm.
they're getting both of them for not feeding the kids, for not feeding the kids.
See,
And
I
I
could
mean,
see
it
medical neglect, but they're not really that malnourished, not by the guidelines.
well, that's what I'm saying too. So I'm definitely going to research that some more and see maybe exactly if there's, some things that hasn't come out yet that will come out here later on. And like I said, this just popped into my face, and I was like, wow, it was just like stunned me because I was looking at the weights and everything else, and I'm like, one thing I really would like to know is exactly when they allowed those parents to take those babies home. And I haven't worked in a hospital for years, but I couldn't understand how these babies went straight from the NICU to the parents taking them home without them maybe being on, the pediatric floor to make sure that the parents understood about the feeding process and all that stuff. But I guess if they had children before, um, but the intellectual disabilities really stood out to me for real. So it just kind of blew my mind. Just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that one turns out. Um, again, thank you for letting me come up. Thank you for keeping Elena's name out there. Us all just pray that she gets justice. That's all that we can do.
I know,
And
Crystal. I
again, I
adore you,
appreciate
lady.
you a lot.
Don't you worry
Thank you.
about it. I'm glad you texted me. That made me feel good when you texted me and let me know. And you definitely know. All you got to do is let me know, and I'll be there for you, girl. For real.
I appreciate it. I really do.
Well,
I'm
you
going to
keep
jump off
doing you,
here, get some
Crystal.
supper fixed.
All right, darling. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you.
Thank you. You have a good day, hon.
All right. Bye bye. I adore Crystal. You guys go check out our channel. She has really tried to keep Elena's name out there, and it's very important um, that Elena does get justice. And thank you, Crystal, for getting a hold of me and trusting me with talking about a case that is very near and dear to your heart. That made me feel good, Crystal. So I do appreciate you. We definitely will be talking about Elena's case some more. Um, I want to keep up with what happens with mom. I think they should give her the um prosecute her to the fullest. And if I learn any more about the twin situation, we'll kind of keep up with that. But, I do know, and I'll say again, I know that, drama is fun. I get it. Talking about drama and things like that, there's nothing wrong with that if you like that. But please don't forget that there's channels out here too that specifically talk about children and missing children and exploited children and children, who've been put in the most horrific circumstances. Go show those channels some love too, you guys. Show them some love for real. So I appreciate you guys. I've been on here 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm gonna hop off here. Um, I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. And Yes, we are getting more snow, H. Davis. Tonight is supposed to get real cold, and I think we're gonna get a lot of ice and stuff like that. I'm not looking forward to it. Um, but like I said, just give the channels a little bit of love who are talking about the importance of these children. And you know, I adore Crystal. You guys please go check her out. And like I said, Crystal, thank you so much for you know, shouting me out and letting me know, because you know that on my channel, I mean, I do a lot of different things over here. We talk about so many different things. And one thing I will always do is for whoever needs for me to just give me a holler, and I will definitely put out what you have, or allow you to come on my channel and speak about the case of any child. So you made me feel good, Crystal. I adore you. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys later. Hey, I want to tell you guys, I had so much fun on our Name That Tune last night, and I kind of got it figured out. So next time we play, there will be gifts. The winner chicken dinner. You won't get a chicken dinner, but we're definitely going to have some gifts. So please, if next time we do it, I'll give everybody advance notice. And I had a lot of fun, and I think everybody else did too. So please come over and have some fun doing that. So thank you guys, and thank you, mods. I appreciate you for hanging in there with me. You guys are too cool for school. And my members, thank you guys who are members to my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. It means a lot to me. I know I'm not the um, greatest YouTuber. I don't have fancy stuff, but it means a lot to me that you all show your appreciation in that way. You are so welcome, Crystal. You are so welcome, darling. And you just let me know if you ever need me, Crystal. You know I'll be there for you. So, all right, everybody, let me do my peace out. And please don't forget about this little girl, this beautiful little girl, and justice needs to be served for this baby. It's a horrific case. Go check out Cold Case Crystal. She gets really, she's very knowledgeable about this case. And go over and show her some love, and check out her content on Elena. Check out her other content too. All right. Peace out, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Peace out.